Um, Hi everybody, it's Steven here. So in my last video I was showing you some of my work, and somebody asked me how I was doing those type of renders, like the 3D sections. So I'm just going to show you how I did that. Um, so I'm in ArchiCAD right now, and that was the model that I use. Like I said, there was supposed to be a other building on the side, so I have a wall here. So for now I'm just going to hide that wall here, and that's kind of already the view that I have. But let's say you don't want to delete the wall, or you want to have that sections maybe in the middle, let's say around here, because right now it's right on the edge, so it's really convenient for me. But let's say I want it in the middle. So the tool that you have to use is the 3D cutaway. So you click on that. Oops, and as you can see, I already had a cutaway, but in the to get the floor plates. That's what I use to create my isometric. Let's see. That's what I use to create this. Those isometric floor plan. Okay, let's just delete that first. Delete all cutting plane. So we go back to normal. So you click on that, create custom plane, and you just try to stick it to one of the surface that's parallel to the plane that you want to create. So I'm just gonna go on this one, click, and then now I can move in any position that I want to. So let's say here, and then press OK, finalize, and you see I create your new 3D sections. And the model is not destroyed, it's just like a view, so you can toggle on and off. And if you want to, I think you can move it again. So click on this and just move it to the position you want it to. So that's how you create your 3D sections in the viewport. And after that, I'll just pick the view that I want. This, and then I tend to do 2-point perspective, just so it makes the edges or the lines straight. And then I would go into the visualization settings, or I mean palettes, which can be found under Window, as a toolbar actually, 3D visualization, and this will pop up. And you go into the settings, and I'm using Scene Render and also the sketch things, but I'm just going to show Scene Render first. When I produce my images, I don't tend to use ArchiCAD to create a photorealistic image, because I would have to put everything in high settings and high resolutions, and this would take time. My computer is not that powerful, so it might take like 3 hours, and sometimes it might not come up the way I hope to, so I tend to not do that. I usually render like a low resolution type, but like the correct size. Let's say this size. So let's say this. And wait, how come I gonna change? Because usually I want to change the DPI here. Screen. Oh yeah. So let's say that's A4, and then you could change the, like if you want it super high res, you go 300, but then as you can see the pixel size is going to be much bigger, and then it's going to take much longer to do it. So I'll just do 72, and maybe just gonna reduce it just for now, just to show you my process. And I do render one just a white model, and I'll show you why. Um, I render different layers so that I can bring them into Photoshop and change the opacity or the contrast in individual layers, just to give me more control. Yeah, it might take a while to render. I mean, it's going pretty fast right now because the resolution it's quite small. But I think that's why it's important to kind of check to what resolution and where you're gonna print it. Like, is it gonna be on big A0, or if it's on just a A4, maybe you don't need to have that much of a resolution. And I mean, you could always try to cheat a little bit on Photoshop after. So like this white model, I usually have one layer like this just to play with the how dark or like the brightness of my main model, main image, and then I would one with the color, but really, let's see, I'll bring one color layer, bring it to Photoshop and make it really light, just to give you a hint of the type of colors, and then I'll get some more realistic texture, like wood texture, concrete texture, images, and bring into Photoshop and just overlay. I'll just show you that as well. As you can see, it can take quite a while. I should just make it a bit smaller, but maybe in the meantime I'm just gonna go into I like to have a paper texture just to overlay everything so everything match together. When you're on Google, try to go tool, size, pick like a high resolution image. Let's do this, and I don't know, any paper, free photos, and open new tab. Okay. That's the thing, when you look at paper texture, you always get it to other website and you have to click. But anyway, just save that. You can even save. Okay. Oh well, you keep looking until you find one that you like and then that you can save. Okay, let's take this one. Oh my god. Okay, cool. So you can save the image. Because we save it to desktop. Render. Okay, just gonna save it here. Close that. And this one I'm gonna save. As you can see, maybe next time when you make a cut, you have to be careful that you're not cutting stuff that kind of look weird, like I wouldn't not cut that cars. But it was okay. And then I would go into Sketch and then custom. Show tree vector etching. So this is when you have element like the bricks here. It will kind of show that as a line. Also, it's a good thing to just save the view so you can always come back to this. Create. I'm gonna rename it to tutorial view. So normally it should be here at the end, And so let's say I go this and say, ooh, I don't exactly know where to go back. I'll just click here. So it'll bring back to that view. And now we're going to try to render this. Oh my god, this one too. I forgot to, because right now if I want to render, I need to render an image that's about the same size so I can layer them on top and they all fit perfectly. But of course I forgot the size that I took. So if you select on the image and you go, let's say, properties and detail, here you can see the dimensions of the images. So 1280, 1040. So you go back here, 1280, 1040, and go back to setting to check everything's alright. Then you can reduce some of those if you want to have your render go faster. Okay, let's just render and see what it looks like. Usually the sketch render is a bit faster. Um, mm, yeah, that's why I really need a faster computer. But after that, we just gonna render our color layers. And okay, in the meantime, I think I have Photoshop open, so I can just file open. Oops. Renders. Have this here. So that's the image here. Usually I make a copy so I can keep that as a original. And here you can do stuff like adjustment levels, make it darker, lighter, console. Go back to our render. Oops. Yeah, it's taking this time. Okay, let's go back to Photoshop and open. So I'm opening the paper texture. So I'm just going to copy it. Control A, Control C. Go back here. Control V. So now I got the paper texture here. If you press Control T, you can resize. As you can see, it's much bigger than our image. So you can just drag it, make it smaller, so you can add more finer detail, and just enough so it covers the whole image. And then here I can just change the layer to the layer setting to multiply. So I think multiply kind of hides all the white, but I can retain the texture here. And it's a bit too strong, so I can lower down the opacity, let's say to 60. So it's really faint, but it just gives more texture to the image. Um, let's go check if I render soon. Okay, so that's our render. So you can see it's mostly doing the outlines. I'm just gonna save that. And we need one with the colors. So we can either use Cine Render, just take that off, and check this the right setting, press OK. So now we're gonna have one with the colors. And let's go back to Photoshop. I'm just gonna open the new one that we have. Control A, Control C, go back to the image. As you can see there, because they're the same resolution, same size, when you copy, they're gonna be right on top of each other. And here you just do multiply as well. And if you have a close-up, turn off. So it kind of gives it a bit more detail. Like here you couldn't see the brick, can't see the brick, and now it gives you the idea. It's just enough to know what it is. And maybe I'll change the background. It's a bit too dark. Kind of like this. Press OK. And go here. It's rendering still. So let's say because in ArchiCAD they did apply a few colors already, but sometimes they might not be exactly what I want. So let's say I wanted to have like some type of brown. So I would create another layer here. Click here, choose the color. So let's say this. Click here, and I'm just gonna make multiply. So now I can see the image at the back, and what I'm gonna do, let's say I just want it on this piece here. I'm just gonna create a mask. And how I do that, I'm just gonna use this polygon lasso, press the point, and to keep things straight, I press shift, so it's gonna be stuck to one axis, and click on the points, shift, and of course when it's a bit at an angle, you just press you release shift, so you just go all around. I mean, you could be more precise if you wanted to, but with the style that I go with, it's kind of okay, because you're layering stuff above each other, so people wouldn't see those little mistakes that much. So when you have that selected and you are on that color layer, you can just do this to create the mask, and now you get some colors. And you could do that for any other path. Let's say this one's gonna be like red bricks. So, and what? Don't forget to name your layers, because you're gonna have a hard time later on if you don't do it. Because right now there's only like 4 or 5. On I think the other image, my final image has like a 20, 25, and some of theirs was like layer 13, and you just have no clue on. You just have to click and move stuff around to see if it's the right layer. So timber, and okay, let's just make another one, and I'm just gonna choose like maybe that type of red, and click the paint bucket tool, just click in here, change to multiply, and now I'm just gonna use the lasso tool again. As you can see, I haven't touched the little person yet, but that I can add later. So if I want to remove that person from the red, make sure that you're on the mask, because that's the color, that's the mask. You go there, and we're going to use the paintbrush. So when you're on the mask, so now I'm just reducing. The shortcut is the little straight brackets. So you have that, and if you paint black, it will remove the red. So you can see it's removing the red, and I'm just using my mouse right now. But if you paint white, and you can do this to switch the colors, or you can just press X. If you paint white, it will show the red, but be sure to be on the mask layer. Huh? So press S to get the black back, and I'm going to make it smaller, and just do this. I mean, you could be more precise and just do the lasso tool and just click, 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 but I think it's a waste of time. And we don't have time for that when the deadline is the next day. And zoom out, and voila, you get some red here. And you could just do that in every room. It's just much faster than waiting for the rendering, and because you already had that um, white model render, you have your shadows, the different gradient of shadows on the walls. So when you apply the layer and you use multiply, you will have the different type of colors, like the different type of red, like darker and lighter ones. Okay, oh, it's finished. As you can see here, I think I had like a concrete texture on here, and yeah, it's kind of ugly. It's not what I want. But I'm just gonna save that, and I'll show you why. Go back to Photoshop, press OK, bring that in, Control A, and zoom out, Control V. Oops, forgot to Control A, Control C to copy, Control V, and that's here. Why do I need that? Because I want to get that black outline. So if I do that, okay, not the best way. Remove the tolerance to 5. Okay, maybe I just do that first. So I'm gonna select that black, and I'm gonna do a mask. So the rest of the color is not gonna show. As you can see, the result is not that great because the resolution is not high. So you could see the edge is not clean. So what you could do, I mean, you could hide, mask some of the stuff that you don't need here, but it might take quite a long time. So what I'll do is, instead of rendering with Cine Render, I'm gonna do it with the internal render, and press OK. Let's see what it's gonna get. So the color won't be as realistic, but there's also no shadows, so it might be easier to get an outline. Okay, let's go back. Press file, open. Take this one. Oh, looks much better. Paste on top, and it's here. Oh, I know why. Because normally it shouldn't select this one. That's because I didn't click that. Oops. Yeah. Huh? No, it's touching somewhere. Oh, it's touching here. I just want to try something again. That's something that I learned recently. When you use the magic wand, I kind of use it to select everything that is the same color, or that is connected. So like for this one, everything that's connected to that black will be selected. But as you can see, this one, it's not even touching it. It's selecting it as well. It's because contiguous is off. So if I were to deselect everything, go back to that magic wand and tick that on, it will only select the black that parts that are connected. So you see now it's not selecting the black that's from here. But then this part is missing, so press shift, click on this, and let's just create a mask of that and turn this one off. It looks cleaner than this. So that was the one from Cine Render. But you could do more cleanups here. Use the paintbrush, make sure it's black, and now you can just do that. Or you could just lasso everything and use the paint bucket tool of black. Click in here. Or if, because sometimes it does it incrementally, or you could just use the paintbrush, make it super big, and okay, I guess that's enough. And yeah, so that's how I get my black outline. And let's go back to main image. Oh, if you don't want the background, you can just create a mask as well. So I would select everything. So I press the top one, press shift, click the bottom one, so everything's going to be selected. The one in between, press Ctrl G to make a group, and I'm just gonna make a copy of that, and I'm gonna select this. So it's selecting the blue colors, and I'm maintaining shift to add to that selection, and select it all. Go back here, so now I get my outline for the mask. Oh, I have to invert the selection, so I select only the building. Let's edit, select, invert selection, go into group, turn that off, so now it's all white, and I can just make a white background. And voila. Oh, if you don't want this, you can just go back to the mask and close in. Tick, tick, tick. Usually I make this type of selection so that I can use the paintbrush tool and not worry about deleting anything else that's outside. And voila. And like I said, that's a mask, so it's not destroying anything. You can just disable that and everything will come back. And then sometimes I'm just gonna change it a little bit, the size of the image. So do that, image crop. So that's more to what I want. And yeah, I mean that's it. That's my process about how I go about doing those type of sections. Of course, if you render the image from ArchiCAD with high resolution, you wouldn't have those type of edges. It would be just much cleaner. Also, you could render the shadows separately, the light, the furnitures, the people. By having different type of layers, it just allows you more control. But yeah, if you have more questions, just let me know in the comments. Thank you.